It's Johnny Detroit pregame.com with part 2 of our Wiseguy series. We have Frank, Mr. X here, one of my Grand Central Station contacts. Out of all the people I know, even guys offshore, I think I respect the information and the opinions that I get from you, whether it's some horse racing tips, an injury. I mean, there's stuff. I mean, I knew about the Terrell Pryor stuff because you and your crew, like a day and a half before it was even on ESPN. I mean, the sports books, before they even took the game down for a little bit, I knew about it because you guys. I mean, the stuff that you guys have is just incredible, whether it's sharp information, whether it's you guys creating lines, for the Bulls. I know you guys had Mississippi State, I think 2 touchdowns over Michigan, Stanford at 7. I mean, there's a lot of games that you guys have for what you do that is amazing. So I know you said in part 1 you've been betting professionally, for 11 years. You've been in Vegas since the 60s, played professional, highlight at MGM, dealt cards.
Right.
Tried being a better like everyone else. Like you said, almost every sharp person has that epiphany that says, I no longer want to be a square. So let's go back 11 years from now. Everybody, it's easy to say, I want to be sharp today. I want to have contacts. I want to know about a line move. I want to know that LeBron James twisted his ankle in the locker room before ESPN, and I want to bet this line minus, take the dog +7 and take the comeback once it comes out when the news finds out about it. But easier said than done. If everybody was you, there would be no sports books, there'd be no bookies, because nobody would be able to bet because you couldn't take action and win.
Right.
You're in the very, very, very minute percentage of sports bettors. You're the guy that when they walk in the sports book, they shake their head and go, oh, not this guy. You're the guy that when the bet comes through to the bookie, he curses your name. So let's go back 11 years. You want to be sharp. You don't want to be square no more. What's going on?
Well, no, it was about 11 years ago when I think I finally turned the page. Like, we all knew about teams and sports and quarterbacks, just the average. But 11 years ago, I was in the Union Plaza. And I actually really, and I just hated losing. And I actually noticed the game. The same game was a Monday night game. And the team was +11. And then I was walking around thinking, okay, I'm going to make some bets. And at the other place across the street at the Golden Nugget, it was 9.5. It was 9.5. I go, boy, that's the same game. That's the same game. I go, well, I actually liked the favorite in that game. So I laid the 9.5. And for some reason, I don't know if it was an awakening on it, and that team won by 10. That's when I became 100% convinced that at that point, that sports, it's not so much everybody with their favorite teams and this team's going to blow out the other one. It's about mathematical and value. Right. Had I laid the 11 across the street, I would have lost. But I found the 9.5.
And that's one of the things that we can't push enough to our audience.
Yes.
Is, everything in a casino has a hold, whether it's blackjack, roulette. Right. And, at -110, the sports book's hoping to hold anywhere from 4.5% to 7%, depending on the season or sport, in the end, and that's how they look at it. And it's all about math.
Right.
When I was, doing a lot of middling, with you and your crew, 2 years ago, especially in the totals, as I learned a lot, and I knew, don't bet this NBA total unless I was getting X amount of points or this side with this many points. And if you can get -110 here and the square side at -105, I had that much more of an edge. And, throughout my career, I'm a lot younger. I mean, I don't live in Vegas. Is the most successful run that I ever had was once I learned the value of the numbers, basically through your crew, of the middling and the value of the numbers and how to bet these totals. And almost it was like I didn't have to sit there and spend 10 hours reading about matchups. It became math and numbers and the right information.
Right.
So the number lands on 10. That's one example. So how do you get it where you start meeting all these people and these connections and beating the number?
No, because that turned on so many lights in my head. I kept thinking, oh my God, I won that game where I would have normally lost it had I bet it there. And before you know it, so I would say like the next 2 years, I was so fascinated by the fact that you could win at both places and take very little risk that I really got into, scalping and middling. And, I just took it from there. And now I would say the last 4 years, it's really taken off because we still use the line value.
Right.
People don't really realize, like when they say, oh, I love the Steelers, I'm going to bet the Steelers tonight. I might like the Steelers, but if they were -2.5, I like the Steelers. If they were -3.5, I really like the other side. Somebody would say, just for that 1 point you could flip. They don't realize like the value of the 3. 30 cents going from a 2.5 to a 3.5. It's all math. But now the last 4 years, I combined all the line value, with the best numbers, with extra sharp information. And now it's really taken off.
Which is beyond sharp. I mean, I've been at dinner with you guys literally where, I mean, if we were on a date, I would throw the wine in your face and walk out because it's like ring, ring, ring. This guy's out. This line moves. Take this. This syndicate's on this. And I think a lot of people who see this kind of stuff or hear these stories, I mean, it's exciting and it sounds fun, but I mean, I was doing it at a minuscule level in terms of the sharp moving and then the middling as you got your guys. And I can remember one time I was at a Taco Bell and I was getting lunch for me and the kids, and they were going to get my change and they're getting the food ready, and my phone goes off. And it was your partner, and he goes, totals are coming, like a minute and a half. And I'm like 2 minutes from my house, and she's still counting out my change. And I'm looking. Floor the Cadillac, leave the food there, leave my change. I fly home so I can get home for the totals.
Right.
That's the life that you lead, I'm assuming. Because when I was doing it, you're on the phone.
Right.
You have to be available. You're grinding it out. You're checking for lines. Let's go through an average day. You wake up in the morning.
6 o'clock. Fire up all the computers, all the line services, all the moves.
So you're checking all the different lines offshore in Vegas, the private credit shops.
Every one of them. All my friends get up at the same time too. All the sharp people that we share with. See, the key is, like I said, it's information. Well, I know the top guy like in college basketball totals. I'm not handicapping the game.
Exactly.
I'm not handicapping. He's the sharpest guy on the planet when it comes to college basketball totals. I know the best guy in hockey. We're all friends. It's not like we're doing the handicapping, but we know all of the sharpest people in the industry and what they're taking. And you can tell because as soon as their releases come out, the games go up 3 to 4 points.
That's why I call you Grand Central Station, because you're the hub of all the information. So you're up at 6, everyone's up. Walk me through the day.
6 o'clock, all the computers are fired up, everything. I start writing down all the games, which way they're going. I get my first phone call about 7, and we start going on, maybe 2 or 3 of the NBA lines that they're going to be on, that the sharpest group is going to be on that does their handicap. We write them down, and before you know it, by 8:30 or 9, that's when all the lines are correcting and moving. And
it's about 11:30 Eastern, which I remember when I was doing the NBA totals. That was around the time I started seeing the board light up, and I'm trying to catch them. So you're on it before it's happening. Now, you're getting this information. It's sharp. There's a mathematical edge in the middles and the scalps, but you also know that these guys betting it are, like you said, the best of the best. The .00 whatever percent in college totals or NHL hockey. What percentage are you doing in middling, in scalping, and actual betting?
Well, it's a lot less middling and scalping now because we're getting such great information. I used to be 100. After that 9.5 to 11 game, I became all about middling and scalping.
So you were grinding it out.
I took no risk whatsoever. All I did was lay 2.5, take 3.5, shop around. Now I'm actually making more. I still do a little bit of middling, and when I find free ones, I'm going to take it. Why not? I don't care what number it is. If it's free, take it. But we do a lot more now because of the information sources we have.
You guys just won a major contest here in town.
Yeah, we actually won the win contest, the Survivor. We went 16 weeks.
16 weeks.
16 straight weeks we picked the winner. It was without the points, but it was still 16 weeks.
16 weeks is pretty solid, though.
Yeah, sure was. It was a lot of fun. But it's all about, again, and you got to get the information early. Because once the guys hit it, once we all hit it, we take the value right out of it.
Right. So that's another thing I like to, always push to our audience is steam chasers don't win. I mean, I did a report one time where I took a couple hundred games of baseball in Pinnacle versus Sports Interaction, side by side versus move versus pre-move. Same game, same bet. The bottom tally, one was plus, one was minus. You can't chase the steam and bet bad numbers. There's so much value in it.
That's right. People don't really, I used to know a guy back in, but this was before I knew what I was doing. He used to let you bet the whole board with him. He would give you 1 point in the NFL. He'd give you 1 point, offer on the number, whatever you wanted, but you had to bet the whole board. Well, I didn't know what I was doing. Right now, if anybody gave me that, I would destroy them. I would take every 3.5 to 2.5, every 6.5 to 7.5. That 1 point is so huge that people don't realize by the end of the season, it's so many more games you're going to win versus actually losing because of that 1 point.
Going into the NFL playoffs or in basketball season, This is going to be an ongoing series. We're hoping to have Frank back multiple times. I'm trying to get a couple of his guys that work with him. And these guys aren't the ones when you land in Vegas or on a billboard. No. I know for a fact the information you guys get. I know there's guys offshore that are petrified of you guys. But the guy, people are watching this. They know Jim Feist, they know Wayne Root, but they don't know you because you're the guy in the shadows. And so it's harder to get guys like you to come on camera and do a little convincing because you are the real wise guy. You are the one really moving the money. And, I think this is going to be a great ongoing series. So before we end up part 2, I guess, if you could give some advice, no one's going to be sharp overnight. But, for an average bettor, we got the NFL playoffs coming up, basketball season's going on. What are some general things if you had to have a young little Jedi and say, I can't give you everything right now, but there's some basic pointers you need to follow? What would you say those were?
Well, no, let's say an early person, I would say, well, like in the NFL, people have to start learning to think opposite a little bit. And remember, generally, the square action is always they want to bet favorites and
right.
over. Favorites and over. 10, especially laying points on the road, but really look at your points. Like going from a 9.5 to a 10.5 should take you off of that game. Going from a 3 to a 3.5 might make you not want to take that game, or even change to the other side.
Right.
It's all about numbers, value.
Teasers. Best advice on teasers you can give.
Oh, the best advice on teasers. So many people they waste their 6 points.
Because a lot of people think teasers are square plays, but teasers,
No.
if bet the right way, and if someone's not making you lay the right juice, or if they have bad numbers, teasers are actually one of the sharper things you can do.
Absolutely.
Give me an example.
Absolutely. Okay. Most people, you got to hit 2 games now. They take their 6 points and waste them. If you can get, let's say, for instance, 2 NFL teams minus 7.5 or 8, and you use your 6 points to tease them down, and you can get through that 7 and through that 3, that's actually a huge profitable bet. Even on a 10-point teaser. So many times, there was a couple weeks ago last year in the NFL that there was multiple games of 10, 10.5, 11-point favorites. If you did the money line parlay on the 3-teamers, minus 550, minus 520, it came out to .52. You would get, if you parlayed those 3. You do a 10-point 3-team teaser and get them all down to pick, it came to .91. People didn't realize that. You do a 10-point 3.
I'm sure you're betting those, right?
Yeah, we were betting those because I mean, if you parlay the 3 of them on a money line, you got .52 on your money. You got .91.
So it all comes down to value.
And get through those 7s and the 3s in the NFL, and then your teasers are valuable. A lot of people waste money on a teaser, a team that's minus 2.5, and they take them plus 3.5. That's a waste of the 6 points.
Exactly.
You're going to end up losing.
Last one before we close, correlated parlays.
Oh.
With general rule, what's the general rule to follow?
Well, here's one general one, like in college football. If the place lets you bet it, whatever the spread is, if it's 3 times what the total.
The general rule I always heard was 3 to 1.
3 to 1 is
3 to
the
1.
general. So, for instance, if a team's minus 17.5 and the total's 42, you bet the favorite and over. Because the correlation of that is that if the favorite wins, it more than likely the value is that it will go over also. And you're getting 13 or 14 to 5.
I always looked at a general correlations too as if Pinnacle or Chris don't let you bet it and somebody else does, bet it blind with somebody else.
Absolutely, yeah. They're not giving nothing away. They have every single little thing covered.
Frank, it's been a pleasure. This is going to be an ongoing series. This is part 2. Hope everyone learned a lot. I appreciate you coming in. It took me a while to get you on camera. I want to thank everyone for watching, and we'll be back with part 3.
All right.